anti-vaxxers to take it. Each pill's got a little picture of a horse on it. As we speak, Burke is throwing the pills at people on Carnival cruises like it's Mardi Gras. Also, this week, former Vice President Mike Pence was on a podcast, and he said that he's spoken to Trump about a dozen times since Biden took office. I'm surprised they speak that much. I mean, we both see the call coming in, like, ugh, this freaking guy. But the real highlight of the podcast came later. Listen to what Pence said asked about what his favorite meal would be.
If you could choose your last meal on Earth, come on, what would it be?
Supreme Pizza and O'Doul's. That is send me to heaven smiling.
Indiana pizza and non-alcoholic beer. I'd be ready for death, too. I have a feeling Mike Pence's bachelor party was doing a jigsaw puzzle on a Wednesday. Some business news, the CEO and co-founder of Whole Foods is stepping down after 41 years. Yeah, he finally saved up enough to buy a beach house in Miami or one sliced grapefruit at Whole Foods. Hey, get this, someone just paid $3,000 at an auction for underwear that was worn by Michael Jordan. You hear more about Jordan's underwear in the new ESPN documentary, The Last Dance. And finally, a man in Texas was pulled over because he was driving in a carpool lane with a Halloween skeleton in the passenger seat. And to avoid the ticket, the driver told the skeleton, "Quick, switch seats with me."
To Kate Amber finding his way down to the Rogers 1, and on the very next play, call him again. Ambers cuts the score. Rogers lead to 27 at the half. 47-13. Rogers ends up rolling.
Let's drop to 2A because, Matt, a district title on the line down the street from our game of the week tonight between two bitter rivals.
Bosqueville, Crawford played just twice last season with the Pirates getting both wins. The Bulldogs would love to flip the script. Crawford gets home field for the District 7 2A Division I title bout. First quarter, Luke Torber hands it off to Cameron Walker. He'll run it down to his first own before getting taken down, going out of bounds. Cameraman getting out of the way. And then next play, handoff to Walker again. This time, he'll take it to the house for the Pirate touchdown. PAT, no good. It's 6-0. Then later in this game, Torber puts one in the air, and he is picked. It's taken away in the end zone by Bosqueville's John Yowens. Won't get points out of it. In the second quarter, we go handoff to Beck Chambers. He takes care of it from there. Pirates have reservations for 6. This time, the PAT is good. It's 13-0. Crawford wins 54-14.
Rosebud Lott hosting Holland tonight in a pivotal District 12 2A Division I showdown for playoff seeding. Opening drive for the Cougars, and the handoff to DeMarcus Johnson, and whoop! Spin move, picks up 6. The Cougs would have to punt, though. Next drive, it's Zane Zeinert going to the screen, actually. That's Johnson again. Watch him put on the moves. He jukes into the inside, gets to the outside. He's at the sideline, and he is gone. 77 yards to the house, and Rosebud Lott has a 7-0 lead. Holland would answer, though. Here, the handoff to who else? J.C. Cheney rumbles and bumbles his way to the left sideline, gets a block, and that is a touchdown. We're tied at 7 in that one on a 20-yard score. Let's go to the board. 21-13 Holland. Sheesh. Woo, that's a big win.
All right, Mart Frost, we drop into Division II. Listen, Mart was a 91-point favorite in the computers on this one, so it's going to be a blowout.
I'm taking Frost to cover.
Yeah, did they cover? We'll see. He gets Wesley Carroll there for the nice gain, and then Nevin Hickman takes the handoff. He just, no tackling here. He runs it 25 yards for the score.
Polar Bears were fierce.
Yeah, there's not a lot going on there. So Mart's up 7. Then ball is stripped by Caldarian Campbell. This kid is such a stud. And that gives it back to Mart. The pass from Powell to Jonah Ross. He's going to duck, and Deves still up, nearly scores. But Mart says, nah, I'm going to take it myself. Up the middle for the touchdown. Mart would go up 14-0 in the first quarter. Did they cover 91? No, they did not. But they won 78-0.
Should have put money on it. All right, Bartlett on the road. It's Snook tonight. The Bulldogs need a win to keep any sort of playoff hopes alive. Snook fans are going to like this first play, and therefore Bartlett fans are not. Garrett Leroy Hands to Jose Garcia, counter action. He gone 16-0 just like that. Yeah, he likes that. I need some pom-poms, Matt. More from the home team. Libro, play action, rolls out, keeps it, tucks it, runs, and scores. 22-0 Snook at that point, and ladies and gentlemen, we're not done. Turbale dunks it here. Another fan likes that one. You're going to see here a little dink and dunk pass, and that's going to be another touchdown. So let's just go to the score. 56-8. Bartlett officially eliminated from playoff contention. Some credit to the Bulldogs here. It's the latest they've been in contention for a playoff spot since I've been working.
Okay, that's a win.
Let's get to our favorite segment of the show. We get to recognize a solid performance every week, and Matt, this week we went to Marlin.
Yeah, found someone who can pretty much do it all. Offense, defense, special teams. I'm sure he can run water, cook food in the concession stand. It was amazing to watch.
Bulldogs, you can expect to see a lot of him.
Just want to put my team in the best position we can.
That position is everywhere. Last Friday against Cayuga, Lofton scored 3 touchdowns. It's not anything that makes you stop what you're doing until you realize they came on 3 different sides of the ball: offense, special teams, and defense.
It means a lot because it just showcased that we got dogs on our team. We got a lot of dogs on our team, so it's fun because that's one of my homeboys too, so it's fun. I'm happy for him.
Lofton scored on a 10-yard QB sneaker, a 90-yard punt return, and returned a pick 6 for 105 yards, the most exciting of the 3. With a full field to run with, that's his favorite score of the night.
Oh, just the adrenaline rush, getting a pick, and then trying to put it up for 6.
The score wasn't just impressive for the stat line, but it was important for the win.
We was in a hard part of the game. We was down 7-6, and I had the ball in my hands. I was just looking to score, get up my team some momentum.
It was smooth sailing from there. Marlin wound up winning 40-7. And it doesn't happen without Lofton and his versatility.
Oh, it's essential. I mean, you're not winning games or in playoff talks with it if you don't have those type of players. And so there's a lot of commitment on their end that they have to do, an investment in time to know both sides of the ball and the special teams phases.
Absolutely took off.
Yeah.
The pick 6, 105 yards. I mean, we rarely see that in the NFL. And then a punt return, a QB keeper.
And in a district game.
Yeah, what can't he do?
And then, as we'll get to in a bit, he was a big part of why Marlin steamrolled in another game.
That sounds about right.
And speaking of that, let's get to other area scores tonight. Connolly, 73-29 winners over Gerald at home. That score is backward on the graphic. We apologize. Whitney, Grandview gets the win, 59-10.
All right, T taking on Fairfield. They win 38-20. Groesbeck can't get the win against Malakoff, 49-28.
Troy edges Caldwell, 21-20 is your final there. Valley Mills all over Itasca tonight, 56-0.
Then we've got Axtell not getting it done against the Gladiators, 61-6. And like you said, Marlin rolling. Cairns, 47-0.
Bruce Villetti gets the win in the battle for Highway 107, 45-28. Thorndale, oh my God. THRALL gets the win over Thorndale tonight.
In overtime.
That is a big result in that district, by the way.
Yeah, Bremont, 43-35 over Hubbard. And then SA Holy Cross Knights, that's a mouthful. And they get the win, 32-27 over Central Texas.
Abbott 45's Coolidge 53-8. Jonesboro does the same to ZEPHYR. Jonesboro, if you're into this, was a 91-point favorite over ZEPHYR tonight.
No teams covering. Gosh, what's happening here? Vegas is a shame. Vanguard 28-20 over Plano, and Live Oak, we are still waiting on that score. We'll see if we can get it for you.
And then finally tonight, Mineral Wells Community Christian 45's Parkview 64-18 is the final. In Waco, let's bring in Nikki Latarulo, start breaking down the big picture on this one because we've got some stuff to talk about. We already talked about the 6A. Let's start, Nikki, with the game of the week and the playoff ramifications. So China Spring gets the gold ball because their 2 opponents left are Connolly and I think Robinson. So let's just go ahead and say China Spring is going to be favored in both of those games.
A little undefeated season there.
Here's the thing, though. Salado won the district last year and got Carthage, the umpteen-time reigning state champion, in the 3rd round. China Spring got them in the regional final. So here's my question to you, Nikki. if I'm Salado coach Alan Herring, I know that this isn't how he's going to tell his kids it, but it's what we get to do because we get to look at the big picture of it and tell you guys about it. Is Salado maybe a winner in this?
A winner in losing?
A winner in losing and getting Carthage a week later.
Yes, but I also think that, well, are you saying because China Spring would have to play them first, or they would have to play them like reversed of what happened last year?
The way the UIL districts are paired
them.
up, China Spring would get Carthage in the regional semifinal, which is the third round. Salado wouldn't see Carthage until the regional final, which is round 4.
Yes, but then also we could have China Spring and Salado in that regional final, right?
Yeah.
If they beat Carthage.
If China Spring were to upend Carthage.
Yeah.
Little bracketology here.
I think. I know. I'm just trying to make sure I'm hearing this right because honestly, I was at that game last year, Carthage and China Spring. Sorry, words are hard sometimes. And China Spring wasn't as good of a team last year as they are this year, in my opinion. And didn't Carthage lose tonight?
No,
or was
Carthage
down
came back
at a
and
point,
won
or am I making that up?
35-14. But Carthage turned it over 4 times in the first half and was trailing at halftime. Finished the game with 7 turnovers.
Okay, I was making sure that I was reading what I saw on Twitter correctly, that they were down. But I think this might be the best China Spring team I've seen. And I think that Carthage, I mean, they are always good, but if a team is going to beat them this year, it's going to be this China Spring team. So if we have China Spring and Salado that late in the playoffs, that'd be awesome. But honestly, Salado didn't look good enough against China Spring for me to think they would make it that far, because teams are going to be as good as China Spring, if not better, in the playoffs. So I don't know if this Salado team has, I mean, they have a lot of their guys from last year graduated last year. So this is a younger team. They have people filling in spots. So I don't know if we would see them even get to the round against Carthage, but I agree with what you're saying, and it gives them more time, and it might be a win in that aspect. But I think this China Spring team could go all the way if they can get past a team like Carthage late in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I'll venture to say that third round game this year is probably for not just the region, but a trip to state, because these are the 2 best teams in the region.
Yeah.
Let's move down the street and talk about La Vega, guys, because La Vega was down 28-21 and scored 19 unanswered to beat Midlothian Heritage, avoid, to this point, still 2 weeks left, its first multi-loss district run in 6 years. How impressive of a comeback is it, Matt? We'll start with you.
Very impressive. I mean, from coming here, everything I heard about La Vega was powerhouse, powerhouse, powerhouse. Last year they had the down year, and then for them to be able to pull off a win like this, like you said, to go ahead and avoid for at least another week a multi-loss, I'm impressed. Their offense is just explosive. This play got called back, as we said with the flag earlier. But to show that much poise for a team like this, big things, and hopefully they bounce back. Maybe this is a momentum getter for them, and they go out the next 2 weeks and show up.
Nikki?
Yeah, I don't know if you said last year was a down year for them. They lost to Argyle last year, like late in the playoffs, so I think they were good last year. They just ran into a good team. And I don't know if I think they're better this year than they were last year from what I've seen. I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago when they lost at home against, I think it was Stephenville. And I was like, oh, I don't know if this La Vega team is as good as the past 2 years that I've seen them. And then when I saw tonight they beat the number 7 team in the state, it's like, okay, I think they do have it. They've just had more off nights than we're used to, and we take it for granted. We're like, oh, what's happening with La Vega? But I think they are as good as we're used to. It's just this district is so tough.
Yeah.
So if they can get it together the last 2 games of the season, I think they could also make a good run.
3 top 10 teams in the district, and one thing to keep in mind about high school football talent is it ebbs and flows. Stephenville is having a this is the best Stephenville team in the past 5 to 10 years. And that's why Stephenville is going to wind up winning this district. Midlothian Heritage was really, really good last year as well. And La Vega lost a lot of key pieces from that state runner-up squad in 2019. So this was to be expected. And Don High did tell us, like Nikki said, that this was coming. Let's move down. I believe next was 3A, and we were going to talk Rogers. Matt, is that right? Sorry, I'm talking with our producer, Matthew Moreno.
I believe so.
Okay, we're gonna go with
He
that.
says go with it.
We're gonna talk about Rogers. Rogers comes and rolls over Riesel tonight, even when it couldn't move the ball. Is this Rogers team legit? I know it got walked all over by Franklin a few weeks ago.
Who doesn't?
But everybody gets run over by
doesn't?
Franklin this year. Nikki, it doesn't move the ball. It still rolls over Riesel tonight. How good is this Rogers team? You've seen them in person.
I've seen this Rogers team a lot this season, and I know they lost to West and they lost to Franklin, and now they're beating good teams. So I think they are. I think they might just be a little bit inconsistent in, like, if they can't run the ball against some teams, they could still win, but then there would be other teams where they would have no chance of winning if they can't move the ball. So I think it'll just depend what teams they get paired with going forward to see if they are legit, because they do look good when things are clicking, but then when they're having an off night, they're like having an off night and they can't really get things going. But I think they do look good. I think Charlie Roten has the right kids on that team. Their quarterback is solid. So I think we'll have to just see how this district plays out, and then if they make it to the playoffs, who they end up getting paired with, honestly.
Okay, that's a fair point. Matt, is the sky the limit for Rogers?
I haven't seen them play yet in person, but from what we've seen in the highlights, sure. I mean, just like Nikki said, depending on the matchup, who knows? You get a favorable slate, you're going to go. And tonight was a great example of them being able to take advantage of a team like Riesel.
Is Crawford poised, Nikki, to go back to the state semifinals with how badly the Pirates just beat Bosqueville?
What was the final score in that game? Because when I left, they were up already by 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I do think, because I was at that game they lost to against Post last year, which was with a trip to state on the line, and they were so devastated. And it's when I went during 2 days, I spoke to the coach, and he said, he was like, this is not the same team. Like, everyone needs to understand, like, we lost a lot of those good kids, and like, it's not the same team. So like, the expectations are high, but like, we could have growing pains. But it really looks like they're having no growing pains. They're what now, 8-0, or are they 7-0? I know they haven't lost. So I think if they continue to do things like they're doing, they're going to end up hitting teams like Post and those great squads again. But they look like they haven't missed a beat. So I think they have just as good of a chance as they had last year, because whatever they're doing right.
Nikki's the only one of the three of us who's gotten to see Crawford in person, but Matt, you and I have gotten to see these highlights for 7 of the 9 weeks that we've been doing this show this season. I mean, I'm impressed with Crawford.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime, it just seems like they score a bunch of points every single week.
Right. And Bosqueville's a good team, y'all. So, I mean, Bosqueville's not as good as it was last year, but Bosqueville's still a really good team. Best team Crawford's played this year. They absolutely killed them. Okay, I'm going to put all 3 of us on the spot, and to do both of you a favor, because I am putting you on the spot, I will go first. We are going to name our dark horse for a deep playoff run. As the brackets start to take shape, I'm going to start, and I'm going to 3A Division II. I'm going with the Rogers Eagles, my reason being, yes, they got shellacked by Franklin, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Everybody gets waxed by Franklin this year. A year ago, District 13 3A Division II produced all 4 regional semifinalists. I think we're going to get close to that number this year, but I don't think the district is as deep as it was a year ago. I think this Rogers team is the second best team in Region 4. And I think we're going to see it play Franklin again in December. Nikki, who's your dark horse this year?
I don't know if I would. I feel like every team that comes to mind is not really a dark horse because they're winning their district.
Because there's a clear stratification this year.
I can't really think of. Yes, exactly. What came to my head is Lorena, but I don't think that they're even a dark horse because I think they're like, are they at the top of their district right now? I think they are.
Lorena gets Caldwell next week.
It seems like they started off slow this season.
In breaking news, Lorena's going to be a heavy favorite against Caldwell.
Yeah, because they came to mind because in the beginning of the season we're like, oh, maybe they're not the team that we thought they were going to be, and now they're winning. And I think this is the team for Ray Biles that like they have a lot of talent back. They could make a deep run. I also think of West, but then I know West we knew was going to be good because they lost late in the playoffs last year. They have a lot of their kids. Yeah, so I can't think of a team that's like, it's not like a team that we thought wasn't going to be good is like doing really well. Right. I know what you're saying about Rogers, but I think all the teams we thought were going to make it are going to make. I think we're going to have let's say this. I think we're going to have 3 teams in state this year.
Okay, I like it.
That could be my dark
now,
horse prediction.
in talking about this before the live stream portion, Matt, you brought up there is Tier 1, which is like the local high school equivalent to like Alabama and Georgia this year.
Right.
And then there's Tier 2, and you thought of a team in Tier 2 that Nikki just talked about.
Yeah, and well, West I thought about, and then I thought, okay, well, they really aren't like a dark horse. And so what I've settled on is Academy because
Yeah, exactly.
Stank, yeah. And I mean, listen, I'm all about culture. When you have a culture and you can establish a culture, that does wonders for your team. And the fact being is that Academy is a very young ball club.
Yeah.
I think their entire offensive line is full of maybe 1 senior and then all sophomores. And so the culture that Academy has, Stank, yeah, I'm all in, and that can propel you. And even if they get booted in the playoffs at some point, they're learning. They're young, and then come next year, it's going to be a dangerous team.
Nothing but sophomores on the offensive line at Academy.
Wait,
Deep in the trenches.
I
Stank,
agree with
yeah,
what you're
baby.
saying. I didn't think of Academy, that they slipped my mind, but like I have to agree with you because I just saw a tweet that they were they have a really good record. So I'm like, oh, I forgot about them. So yeah, I agree with you there. They are.
One
they
loss,
could be a dark
it's
horse
to
for sure.
Lorena. They're going to finish second in the district. You heard it here first. All right, Nikki, enjoy your vacation as we are on the bye week for the Baylor Bears football season. We'll catch up with you next Friday night. All right, appreciate you guys all spending part of your week with us. On behalf of Nikki Latarullo, Matt Lively, Matthew Moreno, Jasmine Caldwell, Rob Kelso, Michael Graham, everybody who works the late shift here at 6 News. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you next week under the lights.